Hi, this is Lucy from Lucy's Corsetry, and I am here in Austin, Texas at the Timeless Trends headquarters. In this video, I'm going to show you how to measure yourself and size yourself for a Timeless Trends corset. What I have here is a soft tailor's measuring tape. It has inches on one side and centimeters on the other side, and it's about 60 inches long. You can pick this up from your sewing or notion shop and in some specialty dollar stores. It's also a good idea to be wearing a fitted shirt, or if you are more comfortable, you can actually measure yourself without a shirt on. For the sake of this video, I am wearing a fitted shirt. So the first measurement that you want to take is around your natural waistline. Now, a lot of people believe that your natural waist is the smallest part of your torso, but depending on how much you weigh and your distribution, this might not actually be your true waist. It might actually be sitting a little bit higher up on your rib cage. So you want to feel in, and you want to find that little squishy area below your rib cage and above your hip bones. So it's usually about 1 inch or 2 inches above your navel. So today, my waist measures about 30.5 inches. So write that down in your notes, and then we take the next measurement. The next measurement is your rib cage, also called your underbust measurement because it runs right under your bust. And look in the mirror when you're doing this and make sure that it is running parallel to the floor and also parallel to your waist. You don't want it to be flopping down because then your rib cage will measure superficially large. So I'm looking in the mirror to my left right now, and I'm taking the measurement, and I'm measuring 32.5 inches for my underbust. Your last circumferential measurement is your iliac crest, or your high hip, right here. Now, if you are a very slim person, you might actually see your hip bone actually sticking out a little bit. But if you are more pear-shaped, or you've got a little bit more weight on you, you may have to press down to find your true iliac crest. Another good way to find your iliac crest is to look for the Venus dimples in the back, because that usually lies along the same level as your iliac crest. It's usually along the same area as where low-rise jeans would fit. So I'm going to measure right along there. And again, look in the mirror to make sure that it's not riding too high up if you have a sway back or a shelf bum, and that is not dropping low over your bum. So again, I'm looking in the mirror to make sure that it is parallel with the floor. And today my iliac crest measures about 33.5 inches. So now we are finished with the circumference measurements. The last measurement that you want to take, the fourth one, is actually a vertical measurement. And how I like to measure it is basically from directly under your breast or your pectoral muscle, and drop it right down to your hip flexor if you're standing up. Try not to bend over and look at the measurement by yourself, because you may actually measure artificially too short. I like to look in the mirror and bend my leg a little bit and then take that measurement. So you can see it's a little bit over 11 inches. Another way that you can measure this is by sitting down. Another way to determine your torso length is to actually sit down, and try not to choose a couch or anything that's too squishy. Right here I have a pretty nice flat-backed chair, and I am sitting up with a really straight posture as if I'm wearing a corset right now, and I'm sitting kind of close to the edge of the seat here. And I'm looking in the mirror right there, and I am measuring again under my bust line and right down to where my lap starts. And I'm again trying not to crouch over like this, but stand or sit tall and just mark where my lap would be. And again, it is about 11 inches. So this is the longest that your corset should be before it actually starts to interfere with your ability to sit down. So you want to find a corset that is 11 inches or less if your torso is the same length as mine. Of course, if your torso length is a little bit shorter, then you may want to try one of the shorter styles of underbust. If you spend most of your day standing up, then theoretically any length corset would work for you. But if you spend a lot of your time sitting down, you really want to get a corset that's going to be comfortable for you when you're sitting. And if you buy a corset that's slightly too long for you in the torso, what might end up happening is the top edge of the corset pushes up on your bust line and gives you a really lifted effect, or it might dig into your lap here a little bit uncomfortably. So finding the correct length corset for you is really important. So now that you've taken all of your measurements, you can now go on to the Timeless Trends website and refer to the sizing chart. And the size that you're looking for is one that primarily only cinches in the waistline, but the top and bottom edges of the corset, being the rib cage and the iliac crest, will match your own underbust and hip measurements as closely as possible. That way it really only brings in the waistline and it gives you that beautiful hourglass shape without pressing into your ribs or hips and pinching uncomfortably. So this is how you take your measurements and figure out your size for a Timeless Trends corset. If you have any other questions on sizing yourself, feel free to contact Timeless Trends by going to their contact page and sending them an email or giving them a call.